Mia with you. Thank you for tuning in. Now, as you heard me say earlier on, Ramadan is in full swing and many people face challenges like managing their energy levels, avoiding cravings and getting enough quality sleep while fasting. I suffer from all of those. Tonight, Nathan Johnson is here to share his top health and nutrition strategies for Ramadan, helping people to stay strong, focused and energized throughout this holy month. Nathan's a highly sought after personal trainer and fitness expert who's dedicated the past 7 years to helping the South Asian community achieve sustainable fat loss and improved health. Nathan, good evening to you, sir.
Hi, Mia. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. So, Nathan, I'm fasting, right? I'm a Muslim, and fasting for long hours can leave people and me feeling drained, right? So what are the best foods to eat at suhoor, which is the pre-dawn meal, to help kind of maintain energy throughout the day?
Yeah, for sure. We want long-lasting energy fuel sources, so complex carbohydrates, protein sources, and most importantly, not having large, crazy meals that are going to lead to like blood sugar crashes and making you even feel more lethargic than you will do already. So, for example, I would recommend to my clients something easy to be make at that time. So, yogurt, oats, dates, almonds, all mixed together into a little pudding with a little dose of honey, 450 calories and 30 grams of protein, and it'll keep you full for quite a while with all the necessary nutrition and vitamins and minerals.
Okay, and is that kind of slow release energy as well from that?
Yeah, with the fiber, it'll help it break down for a longer period of time.
Awesome. I like that. Okay. And many people, of course, they experience cravings and overeating at iftar, which is when you break the fast at sunset. What are some of those smart food choices to avoid sluggishness and weight gain? People find it hard to believe that you can gain weight in Ramadan, but it's easy to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, as soon as you break the fast at iftar, it can go quite ravenous straight away. So you want to hydrate first. You want to get your dates in. Start with your fruit and veggies to really bulk out that meal, so it takes away a lot of the hunger and the cravings. And then you want to use something what I like to call with our clients the one plate rule. So you want to stick to a one plate of food at that time, so that you're not tempted to have that second and third plate after all of those cravings have been built up throughout the day. So half a plate of veggies and fruit, a quarter plate of protein like your meat or your tofu, your paneer, and then a quarter plate of your carbohydrates, your bread, your potato and rice, and that should allow you to last a good 800 to 1,000 calories and a good dose of food in one go, and it might stop you from having that second and third plate, which might feel enticing at that point.
Yeah, it's, my mum always said that to me, that I suffer from hungry eyes syndrome, right? Which is, you know what I'm talking about, Nathan, right? Especially when you've been fasting and then your eyes just want to eat everything, and then you try, but your stomach's saying no. Your eyes are saying yes, your stomach's saying no. You know exactly what I mean. Because is it true, Nathan, that your stomach shrinks, right, during the day?
Yeah, if you don't have any food in it, then it's got nothing to kind of expand for sure. It's gonna go smaller, and then all of the signals are also gonna be smaller as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about hydration, because that's a big challenge during Ramadan, right? What are the best strategies for staying hydrated, especially when there's only a limited window to drink fluids, before sunrise and after sunset, and there's only so much you consume? So what's your advice on that?
Yeah, my first step is to avoid adding to dehydration. So things like caffeine, heavily salted and spicy food can actually lead to being thirsty later and a bit of dehydration. So we want to kind of avoid as much of that as possible. I would break up the water intake with some well-timed kind of bursts. So at iftar, 1 to 2 glasses of water, maybe a bit of lemon or electrolytes, which you can get from Boots, to keep that hydration of those salts and those minerals. And then over that course of that time period, you want to have like 500 ml to 1 litre at a time, and then just 500 ml to 1 litre at around suhoor, and that should break up maybe 2 to 3 litres, especially with some salt and some electrolytes. That'll be a nice way to not have to backload it or have a lot in one go later in the day near suhoor.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'm making furious notes here, but I'll also listen back on BBC Sound so I can make proper notes on this. Now, sleep, Nathan. Sleep. Let's talk about this. Right? I was saying earlier on the show that after suhoor this morning, after my before sunrise meal, I could not sleep after that, so I'm very tired, because sleep schedules, they're often disrupted during Ramadan due to late night prayers as well and that early meal. What tips have you got for improving sleep quality and maybe avoiding fatigue?
Yeah, so we're definitely not going to get the solid glorious 7 to 8 hours during this time frame. So we need to focus on the depth of sleep. So things that improve you getting into deep sleep, which means the quality of like 3 to 4 hours would be better, is a cold room, which will regulate your body temperature, earplugs, eye masks, the things that avoid like light disruptions or like sound disruptions. And most importantly, especially if you are up and down and you've got lots of things going on during that and it's new for you and your body's adjusting, there'll be things like supplements that will help you calm and get into a little bit more of a sleepier state, like ashwagandha, magnesium, even smelling things like lavender can help you put in a little bit more of a relaxed state so that you're not a little bit more wired post-sahur.
Okay, now that all sounds great until you mentioned lavender, because I cannot stand the smell of lavender. I really can't. Honestly, there's something about it. I used to live in a place called Inglesthorpe near Sandringham, and we used to drive to Hunstanton, and on the way you'd go through Heacham, which is famous for its lavender, and the smell would just waft in the car, and I'd almost vomit. That's another story, Nathan, but I wanted to share that with you. Now, what about people that worry about losing muscle or gaining weight during Ramadan? How can they balance the fasting with staying active and maintaining their fitness goals? That must be a challenge.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you're used to training or going to the gym during the day, it's a little bit more of an adjustment period. So the 3 times that you can get some exercise in without there being like deleterious effects or making it worse will be the more risky one is pre-iftar, but that will be something for more like walking or light things just before, obviously from a fasted state. But you can get a good training session in post-iftar, which will help with muscle retention, strength, and keep you with your health and fitness goals during that time period. And then before suhoor would be another a great time. The fuel, you've got fuel from iftar, and then you'll have fuel post your training session and hydration to help you recover as well. So there's 3 times that you could do that, and as long as you are getting some activity, and it won't be as high flying as maybe your normal training sessions, but you're doing something which is contributing positively.
Okay, this makes so much sense. Now, you've created, I'm pleased to read, a free Ramadan recipe book with healthy meal ideas. Can you tell us a bit about that and what people can expect from the recipes?
Sure, yeah, we've got plenty of clients that are going through this right now, and it's just an easy go-to guide that people can find out a little bit more about those hydration, those supplements, and most importantly, some of the best things that we would say are classic iftar and suhoor dishes, but done in a way where it's healthy, it's nutritious, and it's calorie controlled, so that people in the family as well as themselves can stay on track with their goals, whether it's body fat loss or just maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So it's got everything from even just the recipes, how-tos, and all of the information about how to stay on top of your lifestyle during Ramadan as well. So you can get that at southasianfatloss.co.uk/Ramadan guide.
I think that needs repeating. Can you say that again?
It's southasianfatloss.co.uk/Ramadan guide.
southasianfatloss.co.uk/Ramadan guide. Okay, wonderful. That's great. Nathan, I can't thank you enough. I know you're doing the rounds this evening. You're a busy man. But thank you very much for giving us some time this evening to talk to us and giving us some amazing tips. I'll probably take on a couple of them. I'd love to say, Nathan, I'll take them all on, but I just know that's not going to happen, if I'm honest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, something's better than nothing.
Well, exactly. Baby steps, baby steps. Yeah. Nathan, thank you very much indeed. That's Nathan Johnson, personal trainer and fitness expert with loads of common sense advice. That's just not my forte, unfortunately.
BBC Radio Suffolk. In our matchday preview.
It's like managing energy levels, avoiding cravings and getting enough quality sleep while fasting. Well, tonight, Nathan Johnson is here to share his top health and nutrition strategies for Ramadan, helping people stay strong, focused and energized throughout the holy month. Nathan Johnson is a highly sought after personal trainer and fitness expert who has dedicated the past 7 years to helping the South Asian community achieve sustainable fat loss and improved health. Welcome, Nathan. Hello.
Good evening. How are you doing? Everything okay?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. So tell us, fasting for long hours can leave people feeling drained. What are the best foods that people can eat, like suhoor in the morning, to maintain energy throughout the day?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. During this time period, you really want something that's a long-lasting energy. Things like complex carbohydrates, protein sources, and kind of to avoid big, crazy meals just before, we start that long fast. So things like I have my recipe book would be like dates, almonds, yogurts, and oats all together with a drizzle of honey. Has a high level of protein and can keep you satiated for upwards of 3 to 4 hours with lots of long-releasing energy as well.
And many people experience cravings and overeating at iftar when, they're breaking the fast. What are some smart food choices to kind of avoid that sluggishness?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to hydrate and eat your veggies and fruit first before you get over full on the main dishes. And then psychologically, you kind of want to keep to a plate full of food as well. So the more plates that you have will lead to a little bit more of crashing later on with blood sugar, and that'll stop the overeating as well. So we call it the one plate rule, where you put half a plate of veggies or fruit on a plate, and then the rest of your plate is then made up of protein and carbohydrates like rice and meat. And therefore, you've got one plate of great quality food sources, and then that encourages you not to have a second plate or a third plate. And even if you have to have another plate later on in maybe 1 to 2 hours, at least you've got a bit of a rule for yourself so that you don't go too crazy as soon as you open that fast.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, sleep schedules are often disrupted during Ramadan due to late night prayers and early suhoor. What tips would you have for improving the sleep quality to avoid fatigue? Because, many people have to carry on with their day to day.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're not going to get that full solid 7 to 8 hours. So during that time period, you want to focus on deep quality sleep. So the way that you get deep quality sleep is you have things like a cold room to regulate your body temperature, earplugs and eye masks to avoid any type of light or noise disruption, supplements like ashwagandha, smelling lavender, magnesium glycinate, L-theanine are all really, really cool to kind of get you in a bit more of a calmer state to allow for deep sleep to happen during that time period.
Honestly, I am so strict when it comes to that, because unless the room is dark and there's literally no noise at all, I cannot fall asleep. I'm the worst for, when you're stopping over at a friend's house or anything, I need to be in my own space for any of that to be possible. And Nathan, something that a lot of people worry about, I definitely do, is losing muscle or gaining weight during Ramadan. How do you actually balance that with staying active and maintaining a fitness goal?
Yeah, it's all really about timing during that time period as well. So for training, which will aid in not losing your muscle tissue and keeping your strength up, there's kind of 3 areas that you can kind of train with as much effectiveness as previous. So you got maybe the more riskier one, which is pre-iftar, where obviously you don't have that much food in, where I would recommend something light like walking or light weights and cardio. But after the breaking the fast, that's probably going to be your best area for strength and muscle retention, because you're actually fueling full of the iftar food, so that you can go to the gym after that and kind of maintain that kind of efficacy of pushing hard or actually maintaining that muscle tissue. And then the last time would probably be before the starting of the day, and where you're going to have the whole day's food or the whole evening's food to fuel you, going to be hydrated, and you can recover with that last meal at suhoor, and that'll kind of bracket off fuel beforehand, a nice workout in the mornings, and then finish off with that last meal before you start your fast.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. I know that we've had the privilege of just having you for a short while. So you've also created a free Ramadan recipe book with healthy meal ideas. Can you just quickly tell us a little bit about that and what people can expect?
Yeah, sure. We have got loads of clients going through Ramadan, so it's an easy way to kind of plug in and play great recipes that are healthy, that are lower calories, so that people have a bit more direction to not go too crazy and control the calories in their weight during this time period. So if anybody wants it, they can just go to southasianfatloss.co.uk/Ramadan guide, and they can download everything from the hydration strategies, the supplements, the recipes at iftar and suhoor, and all the information that we give to our clients to help them during this time period.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
No, it's my pleasure.
That was personal trainer and fitness expert Nathan Johnson telling us how to stay motivated during Ramadan. And you might have some of your own tips, and you can always get in touch and let us know what those are, because sharing is caring. And while you're doing that, here is Dil To Hai Dil by Lata Mangeshkar.
Right, I'm Annie Shindwala, and I am here until 10 o'clock. I'm in the hot seat, keeping it warm for Mani Massi. Coming up on the show very, very shortly, we've got Nathan. I'm quite excited about this because I like things nutrition. He's a personal trainer and a fitness expert, and he's been helping the South Asian community with fat loss and improving their health. Yeah, stay right there.
BBC Radio Gloucestershire.
Nikki Price.
I love being up high in Gloucestershire, getting the walking boots on and climbing up Cleve Hill or Leckhampton Hill on a sunny day. Everything's great on a sunny day. And then admiring the views, and I love spotting Gloucestershire landmarks.
I thank my lucky stars that you're so close to me.
Wherever you are in Gloucestershire, you walk into somewhere and you get the warmest welcome.
John Smith.
You have a chat, you learn something, you make friends wherever you go, and that is one of the things that I love most about being here.
The sound of the county.
I also love the sense of community in Gloucestershire. What a great place to live.
BBC Radio Gloucestershire.
Now, Ramadan is in full swing and many people face challenges like managing energy levels, avoiding cravings, and getting enough quality sleep whilst fasting. Tonight, Nathan Johnson, he's here to share his top health tips and nutrition strategies for Ramadan, helping people stay strong, stay focused, and energized throughout the holy month. Nathan is a highly sought after personal trainer and fitness expert who has dedicated the past 7 years to help the South Asian community achieve sustainable fat loss and improved health. Welcome, Nathan.
Anissa, thank you very much for having me.
Hi, you're very welcome. Now, Nathan, fasting for long hours can leave people feeling drained. What are the best foods to eat before sunrise to maintain that energy that you need throughout the day?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, during that time period, you need something that has long-lasting energy. So complex carbohydrates, protein sources, and then kind of staying away from big, crazy calorie meals to stop the crashing and the blood sugar crashing that happens if you have lots of quantity of food in one go. So, for example, I'm giving some recipes to my clients right now. Something easy preparable at that point in time as well. So yogurt, oats, dates, almonds, make it into a little bit of a pudding, drizzle over honey, 450 calories, 30 grams of protein, and you've got something super easy that's going to last into the mid-morning to the afternoon with that long-lasting energy.
Now, I'm pre-diabetic myself, Nathan, and I've gone on this journey to learn about nutrition and all sorts, and you hear so many bits of information, like you mentioned complex carbs, you mentioned protein, you mentioned lots of other things, but you know, I get a bit confused. What's what? So what do I need to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on what you've got with your pre-diabetes. For people like yourself, they need a way to manage their blood sugar crashes and their blood sugar levels. So having things that have fiber in, protein in, actually increase the length of which that spike is happening, and then stops those big crashes and those increases over time. So complex carbohydrates, fat sources, protein, all in one go, make a great meal to create a long-lasting energy source that reduces the blood sugar crashes.
Now, you work with the South Asian community. A lot of people in the South Asian community are prone to diabetes. So, yeah, what are the best sources of protein? What are the best sources of complex carbohydrates?
So when it comes to that, you're looking for something. Firstly, the portion size is always the most important. Whether if it's the best, even it has the highest fiber in or has the best properties, it doesn't matter if you're having 7 of them or 10 of them, or having large quantities. So firstly, calorie controlled is the most important, and then things like your rices, your rotis, your different variations of flours, like the whole wheat flours, and your potatoes are super great from a carbohydrate perspective. And protein, as much as we can get of those, everything from veggie sources like paneer, tofu, dals, and rajman, those variations are really good for veggies, and anything, the chickens, the lean proteins are going to have the highest amount of protein for the lowest amount of calories.
Nathan, can I ask you, do you have any sort of Asian background at all?
I mean, I worked with the South Asian community for the last 7 years. I'm from the north of England, so not particularly brown.
Well, but the way that you said roti, I think you said it better than me.
I had a lot of practice.
Now, hydration is a big challenge during Ramadan. What are the best strategies for staying hydrated, especially when there's such a limited window to drink your fluids?
Yeah, so the first thing when it comes to hydration is to avoid things that are going to even further dehydrate you when you have a limited supply of water. So reduction of caffeine, heavily salted and spicy food actually increases your thirst later on. So we want to avoid some of those during this time period. And hydration, You want to spread it out over that time period. So 1 to 2 glasses during like iftar, and then 500 ml to a liter of fluid during those evening meals, and then most importantly during suhoor, you want to have another 500 ml to another liter, and if you can, having this with either a pinch of salt and lemon increases your ability to kind of get the cells hydrated, and better still, if you have electrolyte tablets, which you can get them from Boots or any kind of pharmacy like that, allow the muscles and the cells to be hydrated even better than just water by itself.
Now, you speak of electrolytes. I'm somebody who doesn't like putting chemicals in my body. Are there natural ways to get those electrolytes in you?
I mean, electrolytes are basically sodium, potassium. They're all the minerals that come from anything, any type of food sources anyway. So I would technically class them as a natural source, because they're literally just potassium, sodium. But salt by itself, water, and then, foods like lemon have variations like this in.
And what about sleep? Sleep schedules are often disrupted during Ramadan because of the late night prayers, and you set your fast before sunrise.
Mm. Yeah, so you're not going to get those golden hours of those 7 to 8 hours. So it's about focusing on the quality of sleep that you get, even if it's a few hours. So regulating your body temperature by having a cold room allows you to get into deep sleep. Earplugs, eye masks, reducing that light and that sound to avoid any disruption. And then things that can help you calm and relax, such as supplements like ashwagandha, smelling lavender, magnesium, L-theanine, can all help you get into a bit more of a restful sleep, even if you're getting less hours than you would normally do.
So you say a cool room. What's the golden temperature? Is it something like 18 degrees?
I think it's just colder than your current body temperature. So I guess the number isn't that specific, but you're looking for where you're not going to have many covers over you. You're looking for a little bit of a colder start, something that you would be a little bit more apprehensive to get into bed as. That's kind of your gold standard, as long as it's not going to, your body temperature rises by 1 to 2 degrees during your sleep anyway. So anything that's going to not cover you and kind of make you a little bit more warmer.
So that's a really good tip for sleep hygiene. But we also live in a time where we're constantly on the phone. I mean, I hate to admit it, I do take my phone to bed with me.
Yeah, me too. And that creates a lot of the light kind of blue light that comes through that reduces your ability to get into deep sleep. So that's why the calming supplements, the small things like the earplugs, the eye mask, really help you kind of have a little bit of a separation. So anything that comes from the blue light can kind of be offset by some of these practices.
So put your phone away.
In short, yeah.
Now, Nathan, some people, they worry about losing muscle or gaining weight during Ramadan. Now, I come from a community where before Ramadan kicks in, family members, they prepare samosas and spring rolls and all these wonderful treats that they have at the end after they break their fast, which I look at it and I think, oh my God, they're deep fried items. They really shouldn't be having it. What can they do to balance fasting and staying healthy and active?
I think having some type of practice across that evening time period for an exercise perspective is going to be super, super useful. So whether it is taking short walks just before iftar, or actually going and getting a session in before suhoor, or even 1 to 2 hours after breaking the fast where you are a little bit more fueled, can kind of have that exercise, that practice in there. And then from an overeating perspective, or reducing the amount that people are eating as a practice, I like to use what we call the 1 plate rule. It works for any type of dish itself where they might be prone to overeating or multiple servings. You want to have 1 plate of food where you portion out your quarter of your plate as protein, a quarter of plate as carbohydrates, and then load as much as you can of fruit and veggies onto the other half. And that can kind of act as a quality serving size of food. And because it is the 1 plate rule, it stops you kind of going back for that second portion, or can limit how many you have afterwards. So if you are having the samosas or the spring rolls, you get them on your plate and then you have one of them or 2 of them, and then you don't go back for the seconds and thirds.
Yes, that portion of plate that you mentioned, that's an easy way of trying to remember the ratios that you need. Yeah, I like that. That's a good way. Now, you've created a free Ramadan recipe book with healthy meal ideas. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please, and what people can expect from these recipes?
Yeah, it's all there designed to kind of give everybody a one-stop shop guide to classic iftar dishes and suhoor classics that'll allow you to kind of stay healthy, get the healthiest version of these within a calorie control range, and almost have like a go-to guide for some of the classic dishes. As well as that, it's got the supplement recommendations, and in the dosages, it's got the hydration information and a little bit more detailed around the sleep practices too. So it just helps you make it as easy as possible and stay on track with your health and fitness goals during this time period that can be quite offset with lots of food at iftar and an upside down routine. And you can get that either through my Instagram at nathan.autonomy, or you can just visit the website southasianfatloss.co.uk/Ramadan guide, and it'll all be there waiting for you.
That's brilliant. Nathan, you mentioned some classic dishes. What type of dishes?
Well, we got everything from the kebab dishes, the lamb chops, the masoor dals, and everything in between. The air-fried samosas, you name it, it's all in there.
Oh my God, my mouth's watering.
Me too, I'm starving.
Oh, Nathan, right, you said you're from up north, and you're not from a South Asian background. So how have you landed on this in this area?
Yeah, so about 7 years ago, I got my first ever South Asian client. He was Indian, and that was when I was working in central London as a personal trainer. And I didn't know anything about the food, the challenges, the cultural dynamics, the mother-in-laws, everything like that. And that was my education and my learning. And once I had one client, I then worked a large part within the other like Indian communities like Gujarati, and had a lot of clients that came from there. And then before you know it, I knew a lot about the dynamics of food, and that's all. And basically, that's evolved into me now only working with South Asian people from the community, and I have done that now on my own in my own business for the last 4.5 years. And just specialize in making sure people can, from the community, whether it's the risk of type 2 diabetes or the cardiovascular diseases, and kind of, step by step, make this a healthier place for everybody and reduce the risk for the next generation to kind of have these instances, and make a better place for everybody.
I love this, Nathan. Nathan, I myself am Gujarati and I struggle with food because I'm such a foodie. Have you tried some of our food?
Absolutely, chevro, gatia,
oh my
my
God!
favorite.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And the Kenyan chevro is the best one if you want my recommendation on this.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you can't really beat the classics of the kijiri and all the variations like that, can you?
Oh my God, you're like a man after my heart now. Nathan, wow, you're a highly sought after personal trainer, and if people want to get in touch with you, what do they need to do?
Just simply go to my Instagram account, which is nathan.autonomy. We've got loads of resources for everyone in the South Asian community, everything from understanding their own genetics, their health, how to get in better shape, and most importantly, how to eat good traditional food and lose fat, which is my speciality.
Brilliant. I love this. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. It's my pleasure.
Managing energy levels, avoiding cravings, and getting enough quality sleep while fasting. Tonight, Nathan Johnson is here to share his top health and nutrition strategies for Ramadan, helping people stay strong, focused, and energized throughout the holy month. Nathan is a highly sought after personal trainer and fitness expert who's dedicated the past 7 years to helping the South Asian community achieve sustainable fat loss and improved health. Welcome to the show, Nathan.
Thank you for having me, Raina.
Nathan, fasting for long hours can often leave people feeling quite drained, isn't it? What are the best foods to eat at suhoor, the pre-dawn meal?
Yeah, so during that time period, you want something that's going to be a long-lasting energy source. So complex carbohydrates, protein, and then making sure that you're not having some crazy large calorie meals, which might actually lead to a little bit more you feeling worse and lower energy after you have that all big crash. So things I'm recommending to my clients currently is something at suhoor is like yogurt, oats, dates, almonds, all made into a little bit of a pudding with some honey over the top, 450 calories and 30 grams of protein. And that can be a really nice meal, super easy to make as well. That's going to last you into the day with energy and fullness.
That actually sounds quite nice as well.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So a lot of people experience cravings, obviously, with any fasting people do. But also, a lot of people I know who fast say that they gain weight during Ramadan. And do you think that's because they are overeating when it comes to breaking the fast at the iftar meal?
Yeah, because you've gone a long time without food, it's only natural to kind of crave and then kind of psychologically want more because you've had less. So when there's an abundance of food that's been made by the family, it's rather hard to stop when you've had that kind of build up of low energy and cravings that come to it. So recommending is what I'm doing now is using what we call the one plate rule. So at iftar, when you're breaking the fast, you just want to have one plate of food where you fill it up appropriately with veggies, fruit, making sure you've got hydration on the side, and then having some protein and carbohydrates, and having one plate. That might help stop people from going for that second and third plate. And if you're a little bit more hungry in 1 or 2 hours, have another one plate. So it stops that overeating, that gorging, and having more in one go.
And what about hydration? Because obviously that is a big challenge during Ramadan. What are the best strategies for staying hydrated, especially when there's that limited window to drink fluids?
Yeah, so the best thing is to avoid dehydration strategies. So things like caffeine, heavily salted and spicy foods can actually make you thirsty later, making it worse the day after. So, and then on top of that, with the hydration, you want to make sure that you're spacing it out across iftar and suhoor and in between. So anything from 1 to 2 glasses with a pinch of salt and lemon, and electrolytes that you can get for somewhere like Boots can help you have the right salts and minerals to stay hydrated during that time period and replenish. I would do like 500 mils to 1 liters. At iftar, 500 another one during that middle time, and then suhoor I would have another 500 to 1 liter to kind of overall have 2 to 3 liters over that short window.
Right, so you mentioned the salt and lemon in the water. I saw this somewhere today as well, somebody adding salt and lemon to water. What is that supposed to do?
It's supposed to, to create hydration, you need 3 things. You need a little bit of glucose, which is like sugar, you need water, and then you need salt. So salt is a transportation mechanism to allow water to get into your muscles. And that's where you get the rehydration of your muscles, of the skin. And that kind of is a transporter, basically, of the water into the cell.
And what about coconut water? Because I've heard that is really, really good for dehydration.
Yeah, that water, milk, they all have the similar properties which allow for some level of fat source, lots of water, and then some vitamins and minerals which has electrolytes in, which is all the little salts and little things that most people miss when looking at hydration. So that's absolutely fantastic too.
So let's talk about working out during Ramadan. How can people balance fasting with staying active, maintaining their fitness goals? When is the best time to work out during Ramadan?
Yeah, so you got like 3 times during this new schedule that people are adopting for this 30 days is that you want pre-iftar, so that's a bit more risky. So I wouldn't do anything high, heavy intensity. I'd do more like lightweight or cardio during that time period if that's the only time you've got to train. And then the other 2 times would be after iftar, so breaking the fast and then having some fuel, some energy and some hydration to go into your workout, which will give you the best chance. And that would be my chosen strategy, 1 to 2 hours after breaking the fast. And then the last one is pre-suhoor, so you've had some fuel from iftar, you've hydrated sufficiently, and then you get a workout in, and then you can use suhoor as a post-workout recovery fuel source, extra calories, and then also hydrate along that too. They would be like the 3 areas that you could use and maintain that muscle tissue, that strength during this time period.
I mean, that sounds like sensible advice going by, when you can eat and that kind of thing. However, those workouts, because the schedule is all different, like you said, they can be at odd times. And also sleep schedules are disrupted often during Ramadan due to the late night prayers and early suhoor. What tips do you have for improving sleep quality and avoiding fatigue during this time?
Yeah, so we're definitely not going to get those 7 to 8 hours of golden time. So it's just about focusing on getting the depth of sleep. So when you are asleep, you're getting restful and recovery. So getting a cold room is really important to regulate body temperature to allow you to get in that calm and restful sleep. earplugs, eye masks to avoid any type of light or sound disruption, and then supplements which allow a little bit more calming so that you can go to sleep with this new sleep routine. Ashwagandha, lavender, magnesium glycinate, and L-theanine can be really, really helpful to get you a little bit more rested so that when you do finally sleep, you're getting the best quality sleep during that time frame.
Oh, that's really good advice, and for everybody as well, not just people that are fasting for Ramadan. But Nathan, I know that you have created a free Ramadan recipe book with healthy meal ideas. Can you tell us a little bit more about this and what people can expect from the recipes?
Yeah, sure. So we have a lot of clients going through this right now. So we made something super easy, from recipes to how to break the fast, what to break it with, calories, recipes, so that people can kind of stay on track with their health and fitness goals and not to go too crazy with the iftar dinners. So it has everything from the hydration recommendations and further details that I just spoke about. It's got variations of the sleep strategies and more supplement recommendations, and everything in between, from the recipes to stay on track during that time frame. If people want it, they can get it two ways, which is visit me on Instagram at nathan.autonomy, or they can go directly to the website, which is southasianfatloss.co.uk /Ramadan guide.
Nathan, thank you so much. It's been brilliant speaking to you. Nathan Johnson there. He is a highly sought after personal trainer and fitness expert who, for the past 7 years, has been dedicated to helping the South Asian community achieve their health goals. Great advice there. Neha Kakkar, Biprak.
Now the time is 7:28. Race Khan with you as ever, here with you till 10 o'clock. Now, as we've been discussing, Ramadan, of course, is in full swing. Many people face challenges like managing energy levels, avoiding cravings, and indeed getting enough quality sleep while fasting. Well, tonight, Nathan Johnson is joining us to share his top health and nutrition strategies for Ramadan, helping people stay strong, focused, and energized throughout the holy month. Nathan is a highly sought after personal trainer and fitness expert who's dedicated the past 7 years to helping the South Asian community achieve sustainable fat loss and improved health. Well, welcome to the program, Nathan.
Hey, Race, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your time. I guess, first of all, fasting for long hours can often leave most people drained. What are the best kind of foods that people should be eating for their suhoor, which, of course, is the morning pre-dawn meal? Foods that are going to, I guess, keep them going throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want a kind of combination of complex carbohydrates with plenty of fiber in and protein in, and try and avoid large, big, crazy meals. So avoid like sugar crashes or energy crashes later in the day. So for examples would be some dates, yogurt, oats, and kind of made into a little pudding with some honey over the top. Will give you quite a lot of protein, a lot of fiber, and it keep you full for like 3 to 4 hours.
A lot of people tend to, how can I put this? Overeat when it comes to iftar in Ramzan. You know, what somebody would normally eat on a normal day throughout the year, when it comes to Ramzan, because they've been fasting, people feel like they need to go over the top, and often that's because they've had cravings throughout the day, and then they end up overeating for iftar. What are some of the kind of smart food choices to avoid not only the sluggishness that people then feel after that, but also the weight gain that inevitably is going to happen over the month?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the first step is to hydrate really well as soon as you break the fast, the dates, and then load up on the veggies and fruit to get started before like a really heavy dish. We use something called like the one plate rule, which is often where you're going to be having your normal mains of protein and carbohydrates, but it's limited to one plate so that you're not encouraging yourself to have multiple plates. So regardless of the food sources, you can control the portion sizes, which is going to then lead to less of that weight gain when you come to that the accumulation of the 30 days. So having a half a plate of veggies or fruit, a quarter plate of protein like meats or like tofu paneer, and then having a quarter plate of carbohydrates like rice, bread, or potato. And that'll give you a really solid meal of 800 to 1,000 calories without going over that second and third plate, which is a nice hard stop, especially if someone has been craving or kind of excited to break their fast.
And try not to get around it by using a giant plate, of course. So you mentioned hydration there. Hydration's been, for me this year, has been a big thing this year. And we were talking about this last week. Because there's such a limited kind of time window in order to drink fluids and get fluids in, I find that over kind of the last few hours or so, I'm just drinking water, which then ends up going straight through me, and then I'm still thirsty throughout the day. So what are the kind of, I've heard people talking about things like coconut water and things like that. What can people do to keep hydrated and to stop the thirst?
For sure. I think the first thing is to stop dehydration as well, because that comes from like caffeine, heavily salted and spicy food, which can increase your thirst later. But in terms of direct hydration, spreading it out over that time period, whether it's iftar, having 1 to 2 glasses of water, things like a pinch of salt, lemon, or electrolyte tablets that you can get from like places like Boots, and then having like 500 to 1 liter either before or after iftar, and then 500 to another liter near suhoor, would be that kind of spread out process so that you're not shoveling it in at the last minute.
Sleep schedules are also a big deal, because obviously during Ramadan they get disrupted, not only for suhoor but also because people are praying throughout the night as well. That also kind of messes things up. So people are going to bed later than usual, then getting up a lot earlier as well, often finding it difficult to go back to sleep after suhoor as well. What kind of tips have you got for improving sleep quality, I guess, and avoiding being knackered throughout the day?
Yeah, so we're definitely not going to get those like 7 to 8 golden hours. So during that time period, we have to focus on the depth of sleep. So if we get 3 to 4 in one block, we want it to be really, really good and productive. So having a cold room is really great to regulate body temperature, which allows for deep sleep. Earplugs, eye masks can help avoid any light disruptions or noise disruptions. And then supplements like ashwagandha, magnesium, and L-theanine are really, really cool to kind of get you in a bit more of a calmer state, so that even if you are up and down, you'll be able to then get into that deep quality sleep later.
Some people worry about, these are people that train all year round, which sadly I don't fall into that group, but some people worry about losing muscle and obviously gaining weight during Ramadan. So how do you then balance the fasting with staying active and maintaining kind of fitness goals and all of that stuff during a month whereby your food is curtailed and your eating window is, because I know it's very fancy at the moment to do intermittent fasting and stuff, maybe that falls into it, but how can people kind of carry on with their fitness goals at the same time as fasting?
Yeah, so I think the three ways in which you can do that with the training side of things. So you've got the classic one, which is after iftar. You can go and get a session in after you've had your first fuel or your large dose of calories, which will allow you to maintain your normal routine. It'll just be a slightly altered time if you're not normally training at past that time. And then before suhoor would be another time where you have some fuel and you are kind of hydrated, so you'll be able to go and do a training session there. And then the last time will be, which is a little bit more risky, and I wouldn't recommend it, but it can be done, which is pre-iftar. It wouldn't be something where you would do your usual training sessions, but you would be a little bit more active, a little bit more weight training, or a little bit of cardio to stay as active during that time period. To maintain muscle during that time period, we just need to make sure that as you're eating, or those eating times, that you're getting a large dose of protein. So 3 to 4 servings, or 2 to 3 during that time period is going to be super, super essential to make sure that you're not going backwards in your muscle retention.
Yeah, and you've created a free Ramadan recipe book as well, with kind of healthy meal ideas and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about that, and what can people expect from the recipes as well?
Yeah, so it's the classic iftar and suhoor kind of classic food sources, made in a way where it's calorie controlled, it's healthier, and has high protein and lots of vitamin and minerals during that time period. And in this cookbook and this recipe guide, it has all the recommendations for supplements, hydration status, and sleep guides during that time period as well. So if people want it, they can get it from southasianfatloss.co.uk/Ramadan guide, and it has everything that you could possibly need over the 30 days to get through this in the best possible way towards your health and fitness goals.
Personal trainer and fitness expert Nathan Johnson, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, you have a good night.